single dad stops to fix a millionaire CEO's car on a deserted mountain road. He refuses her money, gives her a kind smile, and drives away. But as Claire Donovan watches his taillights fade into the distance, something clicks. That voice, those eyes, the way he moved. And suddenly, she realizes he's not just some stranger. He's the first love she lost 15 years ago, the one she never stopped thinking about. And he doesn't even recognize her. Now, before we continue, let us know in the comments section where in the world you're tuning in from. We love seeing how far our stories reach. And if this story speaks to you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. The Claire had tried the ignition 4 times already. Each time the result was the same. Silence. Not even a sputter. Just dead. Expensive metal refusing to cooperate. She stepped out of the car, her heels crunching against the gravel shoulder. The mountain stretched endlessly in both directions, beautiful and completely useless. Her phone showed 1 bar, then none, then 1 again. A cruel tease. "Of course," she whispered. Of all the days. The irony wasn't lost on her. This morning she'd stood in front of 40 executives, closed a deal worth millions. She'd commanded that room with confidence, precision, authority. And now she couldn't even get her car to start. That's when she heard the engine. An old pickup truck, paint faded from years of sun and work, rolled to a stop behind her car. The door creaked open, and a man stepped out. He was tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a work shirt with grease stains on the sleeves and jeans that had seen better days. His face was weathered but kind, with lines around his eyes that suggested he smiled often. He looked at her car, then at her, and tilted his head slightly. "Engine trouble?" he asked. Claire felt a flutter of something, relief maybe, or caution. "It won't start. I don't know what's wrong with it." "Mind if I take a look?" She hesitated for only a second. "Please." He walked over, moving with the easy confidence of someone who'd spent his life working with his hands. He popped the hood without asking, leaning in to inspect the engine. Claire stood back, watching him work, and that's when it started, that strange, nagging feeling in the back of her mind. Something about him felt familiar. "When's the last time you had the battery checked?" he asked, not looking up. I'm not sure. I just bought this car 6 months ago." "Could be a loose terminal. Let me see if I've got something in the truck." He walked back to his vehicle, rummaged through a toolbox in the bed, and returned with a wrench. Claire watched his hands as he worked. Steady, capable, sure of every movement. There was something about the way he carried himself, something that tugged at a memory she couldn't quite grasp. "I'm Claire, by the way," she said. He glanced up briefly, offering a small smile. "Ethan." Ethan? The name didn't ring any bells, but that smile. God, that smile. It was warm and genuine, the kind of smile that made you feel like everything would be okay. She'd seen that smile before, she was sure of it. "You live around here?" she asked, trying to keep the conversation going, trying to figure out why he felt so familiar. "About 20 minutes down the road. Run an auto shop in town." He tightened something with a wrench, then straightened up. "Try it now." Claire slid back into the driver's seat and turned the key. The engine roared to life, smooth and perfect, as if it had never failed her at all. "Oh my God," she breathed. Thank you so much." Ethan closed the hood and wiped his hands on his jeans. "Just a loose battery terminal. Happens sometimes." Claire stepped out of the car, reaching for her purse. "Let me pay you. Seriously, how much do I owe you?" "Nothing." No, really, I insist. It took 2 minutes, Ethan said, shaking his head. I'm not taking your money for tightening a bolt. There was no arguing with him. Claire could see that. She pulled out one of her business cards instead, holding it out to him. Then, at least take this. If you ever need anything at all, please call me. Ethan took the card, glancing at it briefly. His eyebrows rose slightly when he read the title beneath her name. CEO, Donovan Enterprises. Well, he said, tucking the card into his pocket. I hope the rest of your drive goes smoother. Thank you again, really. He nodded, gave her one more of those warm smiles, and walked back to his truck. Claire stood there, watching as he climbed in, started the engine, and pulled back onto the road. She watched his taillights fade into the distance, and that's when it hit her. That smile, that kindness, the way he'd looked at her, really looked at her, like she was a person and not just a title or a dollar sign. She knew him. Her breath caught in her throat. Her mind raced backward, sifting through years of memories, searching for where she'd seen that face before. And then, like a photograph developing in slow motion, it came into focus. 15 years ago. College. The library steps. She'd been walking back to her dorm late one night when a group of drunk guys had cornered her, making crude comments, blocking her path. She'd been terrified, frozen, unsure what to do. And then he'd appeared. A guy from her physics class, someone she'd barely spoken to. And he'd stepped between her and them with a quiet, commanding presence, and that made them back off. He'd walked her back to her dorm that night. They'd talked for hours. And in those hours, Claire had felt something she'd never felt before. Seen, understood, safe. His name had been Ethan. Ethan Harris. Claire's hands were shaking as she pulled out her phone. She stared at his business card, still clutched in her other hand, her heart pounding against her ribs. It was him. After all these years, it was really him. And he didn't remember her at all. Claire didn't sleep that night. She lay in her king-sized bed in her empty penthouse, staring at the ceiling, replaying every second of their encounter on that mountain road. The way Ethan had looked at her. Kind, helpful, but distant. Like she was just another stranded motorist. Another stranger. He didn't remember her. The realization cut deeper than she'd expected. 15 years ago, she'd been nobody. A scared freshman with second-hand clothes, and a scholarship she couldn't afford to lose. But that night on the library steps, when those men had cornered her, when Ethan had stepped in without hesitation, she'd felt like somebody. Like she mattered. They'd talked until dawn that night. About dreams, fears, the future. She'd told him things she'd never told anyone. And when the sun came up, he'd kissed her, soft and gentle, like she was something precious. Then he was gone. She'd searched for him, asked around campus. But Ethan Harris had simply vanished, and eventually Claire had to accept that whatever they'd shared was just a beautiful moment. Nothing more. Except it had never felt like nothing. Not to her. Now he was back, and she was invisible to him. Claire grabbed her phone off the nightstand. 3 a.m. She pulled up Google, typed in his name. Harris Auto Repair appeared immediately. Reviews, photos, a simple website. There was a picture of Ethan standing in front of the shop, arms crossed, that same quiet smile. Then she found his Facebook page. Public profile. Photos of a little girl with dark curls and his smile. Emma, probably. Pictures of school plays, birthday parties, father-daughter camping trips. A simple life. A good life. No mention of a wife. No woman in any recent photos. Claire's chest tightened. He'd built a whole world without her. And why wouldn't he? She'd been one night in his life, one conversation, one kiss. But God, she'd never forgotten him. Her finger hovered over the message button. What would she even say? Hey, remember me? You saved my life once, and I've been measuring every man against you for 15 years? She closed the app. This was insane. She was being insane. But the next morning, Claire found herself driving back toward that mountain town. She told herself it was just to thank him properly, to repay the kindness. Nothing more. Harris Auto Repair was a modest building on Main Street, sandwiched between a hardware store and a coffee shop. Claire parked across the street, watching through the window as Ethan worked on a car, his movements efficient and practiced. She almost turned around, almost drove away. Then Ethan looked up, saw her car, and waved. There was no backing out now. The shop smelled like oil and metal. A woman at the front desk smiled at her. Help you with something? I'm actually looking for Ethan. Claire? She turned. Ethan was walking toward her, wiping his hands on a rag, looking surprised but pleased. Hi, she said, suddenly feeling foolish. I hope I'm not interrupting. Not at all. Is everything okay with the car? Uh-huh. The car's perfect. She held up a paper bag. I brought lunch to say thank you, if you have time. Something flickered across Ethan's face. Hesitation, maybe, or uncertainty. He glanced back at the shop, then at her. Yeah, he said finally. Yeah, I can take a break. They sat on a bench outside the coffee shop next door. Claire had brought sandwiches from an upscale deli in the city, suddenly aware of how out of place they looked in this small town. You didn't have to do this, Ethan said, unwrapping his sandwich. I wanted to. They ate in silence for a moment. Claire's mind raced, searching for the right words, the right way to ask if he remembered. Can I ask you something? Ethan said quietly. Claire's heart jumped. Of course. Yesterday, when you gave me your card, Claire Donovan, CEO. You're that Claire Donovan. I looked you up last night. He wasn't meeting her eyes. You've done incredible things. Built an empire. Why are you really here? I told you. To thank you. People like you don't drive an hour to bring lunch to a small-town mechanic. His voice was gentle but firm. So, what is this really about? Claire's breath caught. She could see it now, the walls he'd built, the assumption that someone like her couldn't possibly have genuine interest in someone like him. You think I'm slumming it? She asked softly. That this is some kind of charity? I don't know what to think. Ethan finally looked at her. You're a CEO? I fix cars and go home to a kid and frozen dinners. We live in different worlds. We didn't always. The words hung in the air between them. Ethan's expression shifted. Confusion, then concentration, like he was trying to solve a puzzle. What do you mean? Claire's hands trembled. This was it. Westfield University, 15 years ago. We had physics together, Professor Morrison's class.